So Stu, I read that you are both real life brother-in-laws. When did you really realize that you gelled creatively and decided to go into business together?
Yes. Adam really did date my sister without me knowing for many years. And it was a very, I didn't take the news very well. And I was pretty much against it. And it's like, I told my sister, you can't be with him. And as soon as you tell her that, it's like she's going to want to be with him even more. And that was my mistake. But they actually ended up getting married. And Adam and I, we were already friends prior. And now when he became family, it seemed like a natural fit. We were already doing stuff together creatively, and he was already working alongside on some other projects with me and me with him. So it made sense for us to start a company and try to do this together because, it's a very cutthroat business, pun intended. And, if you gotta do it with people you trust. So, you gotta trust the guy that lied to you about dating your sister, that he's not going to lie again after that. So
It sounds like that was what you needed to record the reaction of, like for a
yeah,
legit reaction.
Yeah,
it's
that's like
real.
that's a pin. If I could like take him to the pinnacle, I can't go any further. It has to be all downhill from there. Anyway, so it's all good.
No, but yeah, we've yelled creatively, and we both have similar goals, and we both like the same kind of movies, and we have a similar sense of humor. It just made sense. He's my brother-in-law. May as well do it with him, right?
Well, thanks.
Adam, Adam, Faking a Murderer is such a strange blend of genres, and it feels really fresh while watching it. How did this idea come to life?
So, I mean, we are true crime fanatics at heart. Watching shows like The Jinx and Staircase, Making a Murderer, The Evil Genius. We sat down and we're like, just couldn't believe what we were watching. To think that they're so good that they have to be produced, and why not create our own true crime phenomenon and use it as a social experiment to see how far we could push the narrative using real people with this fictitious story. So we're trying, we're paying homage to the genre, and we wanted to, take the true crime fan and put them in our shoes. Here's two ordinary guys thinking how they would solve a true crime murder like the ones that they watch on TV, and this is the chance that everyone kind of lives vicariously through our characters.
Stu, this had a really unique production with a lot of the scenes, dealing with real people, kind of almost Borat style, and they're unaware what they're really in for. What challenges does that bring, to the shooting process? I was talking to one of the writers on Borat, and it surprised me that, they did much more writing for that than they would do, something totally scripted.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to create like roadmaps that have like trapdoors in them. You know what I mean? It's like choose your own adventure on steroids. We know what we want to get out of people, but you're not always going to get what you want out of people. So you have to sort of be prepared for the reality of what they may do under these circumstances. It took a lot of planning, but again, in order to keep it sort of real and legit, we kept everybody in the dark, our family, our friends, our crew, any actors that participated. Like nobody really knew what was going on except for Adam and myself, and even we, didn't know what the hell we were doing half the time. But in order to get, I mean, I've said this before, but if you rely on people who aren't actors to act, people are going to smell bullshit and they're going to see right through it, and that would kill our whole movie. Would be dead because people won't buy it. That it's real. So we needed people to be real, and that included our family and our friends and the companies that we were pitching to. Like, we wanted real people to be giving us real reactions. When you watch a movie, you see the guy say the line perfectly, but what you don't know is we were like shooting with this guy for 90 minutes to get him to say that. So you never know. And also you can only do it one time. Because we're also presenting this as reality to the people we're shooting with. So it's like not like you film a scene and then you're like, okay, let's try it again. This time, say this. Then they'll know that it's not real. So, you really have one shot to get it. So there was extra pressure for sure on that sense. And especially, there's some key moments in the film with our assistant, when she goes and looks in a trunk for a body, like that really happened. She really did that. And in order for us to pull that off, it took we almost had to like train her into being brave enough to go and do that, and she really did. So you listen, it's very, very difficult to shoot a movie like this, but the end result is so worth it because it's such a rewarding thing when it works.
How I'm sure it varies a lot, but how does the like people's response, when they find out what you were doing? Like, did you strain any of these relationships?
Oh yeah, I haven't. We actually haven't. I haven't spoken to the girl that was our assistant. Loved us. I have not heard from her since. She, our family was very upset. My sister was yet call every time she would call and be yelling at Adam. We would roll camera on it. It's I don't know. What about you, Adam? Because I was getting shit from everybody.
I mean, a lot of the stuff, like we wouldn't tell people what was going on. We haven't told anybody really, other than our family who have seen the film and where we live in Canada. But the other people that we interviewed, they don't know anything until they watch the movie. Like we didn't go to them afterwards and say, hey, we kind of kept it going the entire way because we didn't know if we're going to have to use them again for a reshoot or something, or get another quote from them or whatever. So for the people who know, I think they were like, oh, it's Adam and Stu up their own tricks again. But for the people that don't know us, we kind of kept it as just like, this is for real. This is exactly what's happening.
I mean, we even went on a ride along with the police. Like that could have been a very stupid thing for us to do. I mean, we really literally went on a ride along, showed the evidence that we had and to real private investigators and real cops, and it could have gone real sour. We're very lucky that it didn't.
And we had to create backstories. We had to be like, we have to know what we're doing because we're building a line. We have to back it up. And if someone asks us a question about one thing, we have to know how to answer it.
Yeah.
So it was to quote it. It was without swearing, but if I could swear, can I swear?
Of course.
Yeah, it was a fucking mind fuck. It was a total mind fuck. And that's what we tried to do with everyone else too, is mind fuck them into pushing our narrative to where we wanted to go.
And then it to the point where, like, even like Adam said, like we created an actual YouTube channel for David Stoner's videos that's still up there. That nobody's really even found it, but it's Bait and Tackle Mondays, like we say in the movie. And he's David Stoner. He's all of his videos that he did, because if we went to go talk to somebody about it and we're like, oh, we found this video online, they're going to be like, where did you find it? We have to show them it. Like it has, in order for the illusion to be real, they have to be able to see it. So we had to do that. You know what I mean? That was one of a million things, but it was very, very, it was a lesson in lying, because there's no, like, a little lie compounds. You have to just keep lying to sell the lie. And in the end, I guess we lied to everybody.
That's cool. That's kind of almost like a little ARG with the YouTube videos being there. And we talked about mind fucks. Stu, you used to work with Chris Angel. What kind of lessons did you learn from like working on magic, and does that carry over to something like faking a murder?
For sure. I mean, with magic, there's that the whole thing about successful magic is like that tiny moment of the suspension of disbelief. Because someone who's watching magic is like, oh, well, magic isn't real, but that looked real. There's professional wrestling is like that too. Like, oh, this isn't real, but that hurt. And I also worked with Jamie Kennedy prior, who did hidden camera stuff all the time. And so it's just like this sort of style was very much embedded in me for many years, to the point where I fell in love with this hybrid kind of style. Yeah, working for Chris was like going to Harvard. It's like the best magicians in the world are working with this guy. So I got to see how it all works. Christmas is forever ruined for me, but that I have that same rush when you can fool somebody like the way these greats do. That's the thing that gets them off, is like they got you. And this movie in a lot of ways is one big magic trick.
I mean, don't sell yourself short, Stu. You didn't just work with Jamie Kennedy. You put out a rap album with Jamie Kennedy. Have you ever just like looked back at your career and marveled at how like weird it is?
Yes. So bizarre. Listen, you get to do a rap song with Bob Saget, you're going to jump on board that project. It's like not everybody gets to say they did that. But yes, I've definitely been involved in a lot of weird, quirky things over the course of my career. And I think when Adam and I got a chance to sort of take our futures in our own hand and create our own company and tell our own stories, we wanted to make sure that like quirkiness is part of our brand, because we're, that's who we are. And, we're not necessarily a specific flavor. We're like a mishmash of flavors.
And Adam, you've done music videos for arguably more talented rappers. Do you have a favorite music video that you've worked on?
I take exception to that statement.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me that all the time, and I always go back to the most memorable one, which kind of blew me away. Working with was with Eminem. It was back in 2019, just a couple of years ago, for his last album, Kamikaze. And he flew me down to Detroit, to his hometown. We met with the crew and we ended up doing this video, and kind of was flying back from Toronto to Detroit and working on the treatment. And seeing this guy come out onto the set is like, it's like a hologram, because you don't believe that it's him, because he's got that essence that when he walks into a room, he just sucks everything out, and boom, that's Eminem. And he's very pale, because he doesn't go out much, because he can't really, be out in the public, which is terrible. But funny dude. And the guy, to this day, I witnessed, is like a crazy hard worker. He'll sit down and go through every single take that we did and choose which ones he wants, and he will edit on the fly as we're shooting the video. But working with him was like, that guy was one of my favorite rappers growing up, high school. He played a huge part, in my upbringing. And yeah, that's my answer. Eminem.
Praised you. It's really interesting, like working with these types of like legendary names, like Adam mentioned Eminem. There's one thing that all these guys have in common, and gals have in common. They work like 26 hours a day. They're relentlessly crazy about their work ethic. Chris Angel, the same thing, and I remember going on one of Adam's sets last year. He was doing a video with Drake, and Drake comes on the set. It's the same thing. It's like they come on with this aura. There's like this, like, it's like The Rock just got there. You know what I mean? It's like they have this sort of larger than life aura, but you can also see that it didn't just happen easily. There's like so much work that goes into getting that successful. It doesn't just happen by accident. And it's inspiring in a lot of ways.
Stu, I know you're big into pro wrestling. I saw some of your manager clips, and in Donnie Darko, you dressed up as Hulk Hogan. Are you still a Hulkamaniac, and is that something you picked out for that role?
Yeah. So growing up, I used to like root against Hulk Hogan. I would be cheering for. I watched to see if someone would beat Hulk Hogan, and no, Ultimate Warrior eventually did, but for that movie specifically, yes, that is 100% my idea to do that character with that costume. I think the original script, we were supposed to dress as like a clown or a Viking or something. And I said to Richard Kelly, I was like, listen, if this was really me in 1988, I would be dressing as Hulk Hogan. He's like, well, we're shooting it in a half hour, so go ahead and see what you could do. So I ran around, I piecemealed together the outfit. We cut up like blonde wig. We made the must, like, I was walking around on that set, killing people for days, because that scene took, it's a complex scene. There's bike riding. It's over the series of a week that we're shooting these scenes, right? So I had to be Hulk Hogan every day, and I'm walking around on set, just, hey brother, like it was so fun. But definitely that was my idea.
Awesome. Adam, you've both found success in this realm of comedic horror. How do you personally strike a balance between, having those laughs in there, but also, having those scares that, horror fans really know and love?
Yeah, I take it from a guy like Alfred Hitchcock. He's created this thing where we're taking like ordinary people and putting them into extreme different crazy circumstances and seeing how they're going to succeed. And that's pretty much how my brain works on, getting the audience invested in the character. We want to make this you guys. We are you. We are the public. We want to be the everyman. We want to represent the true crime fan. We want to put yourself in our shoes, and what would you do to solve this type of murder? So we try to really hit home with that empathy. And that's, I think, the secret to it. So, thinking up like the craziest shit that you could do and taking an ordinary guy and putting him in there and see how he's going to solve his way out of it. that's pretty much my key.
And then, Stu, I saw in November you were helping out some All Elite wrestling stars tell their stories. What type of work did you do there? And would you like to be more involved in AEW?
I would love to. One of my very good friends is Cole Cabana, who's a wrestler over at AEW. I was actually working. Adam actually hooked it up, but I worked with Director X on that campaign for AEW. So I got to go down there to Jacksonville and hang with the crew and be with all the wrestlers and go to the shows. It was awesome. Coincidentally, I've been working on a show called Dark Side of the Ring for Vice, interviewing all the wrestlers during season 3 for about 9 of the episodes. So after that AEW gig, I was like always in Jacksonville because we always were interviewing AEW guys. So I got really tight with a bunch of the guys on that roster and some of the girls too. I would love to listen. That would be a dream come true to be All Elite.
Adam, there's so many great B-movie horror films. What's one of your favorites? What would you recommend?
Oh man, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise. I like those campy horror stuff.
Those aren't B movies, though.
Those aren't B movies, but I mean, even looking at like Fear Street, what's going out right now on Netflix, like that stuff is what is fun. I like
Puppet Master.
Puppet Master. I mean, Puppet Master.
Yeah, that was a fucked up movie. It was like puppets that kill you.
I like that. I like the old stuff, man. I like Birds. I like these crazy movies that, again, as I said before, that I could envision myself being in that situation and like, being that person. And that's what gets me invested in being in a horror film. And they do have their little quirks and their comedy tropes. But yeah, the B movie stuff, that's a tough question for me.
It's because like all of our basically just pick one of our movies.
I'll go with Scarecrows.
There you go.
There you go.
The original from 1988.
All right. So my last question here, I'm going to give you guys the floor here. Why should people check out Faking a Murderer? Stu, you can go first.
Well, I think that people should check out Faking a Murder because you listen, we respect people's time. If you could choose to spend your time doing anything and there's so much competition for your attention, we feel like if you give us 90 minutes of your time, you're going to be very satisfied with your selection of spending time with us on this journey. It was made with love and we love what we do. And we hope that it like sort of transcends to the viewer that they could tell that we had a great time making this. I think they'll have a great time watching it, but try to make it all the way through if you can. There's some good stuff in the credits too. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very difficult film to pull off and we pulled it off in my opinion. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I think that, people are going to enjoy it. So give it a shot.
And yeah, this movie is not just a one-time watching movie. This is a multi-watch film. You're going to watch it the first time for what it is. You're going to watch it the second time to trying to point out what's real, what's fake, what kind of things did we drop in, what type of Easter eggs are there. Then you can watch it a third time and see a whole different lens on it. So when you see the film, it's actually 3 different movies in one. And when you get there, you kind of, it's an incredible conversation, and it's going to be interesting to see who could actually separate it the most and what people will believe is real and what we kind of put in front of them.
Great. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Hey, thanks for having us, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate you.
Yeah, have a great night.
Too sweet.
Right, take care.
Too sweet.